Welcome to Caratootie. I'm Ingrid Carlsen, and today we're talking ephemera books. Welcome to part 2 of the Garden Serenade Kit. I decided that since I've been getting a lot of questions on my ephemera book, I would fussy cut all of the pieces out from this kit and then add them to my book so that you guys can see step by step how I do it, how I plan it, all that. And I'm going to start off by fussy cutting all this stuff, and you can fast forward through that part if you don't want to see it. And then I know some of you like to watch fussy cutting with some, pretty music going on in the background, so I'll have that. And before I get started with that, I will go over the ephemera book, what it is, how I use it, and any questions that I can think of that I've gotten asked about it. And then at the end, I will add these pieces to my ephemera book. So I'm going to start by showing you the book. I bought this one at Five and Below. I don't believe that they have this exact one on hand anymore, but they probably have one very similar. I will also have some linked in my Amazon storefront down below in case you want to order one. So in this case, this one's 9x12. It's 160 grams and it's a mixed media sketchbook. So what that means, it's going to be a little heavier than your normal copy paper, but it's going to be thinner than, let's say, a good quality watercolor paper. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to do like a quick little flip through, and then I'll do a full flip through for you guys if you want. Leave a comment down below if you want me to do just a video where I flip through and show you what ephemera I have. And remember, I have been storing this ephemera. Some of it I was hoarding. Some of it I just didn't use because I didn't see it. And I'll talk about that in a minute. And so this has been a game changer for me because it forces me to use what I have. And when I'm working, when I'm doing especially my reels for Instagram, I can just flip through here and grab my stuff. And that's why I decided to add my kit in here so that I can use it in the same way. So I'm going to show you how I did it. So I always skip the first page. I don't know why. I think because I always think I'm going to add a title or something, and it rarely gets done. So I'm going to show you, this is some typical Tim Holtz ephemera. What I used to do is I would tip it upside down because it has like this little pocket here, and I would cut a slit in the top of the plastic so that I can pull pieces out, but I would still know what package it came from. There's so many problems with that. Number one, once you cut that, you can't, unless you want to put some tape over it. If it falls, it's going everywhere. And then the main thing is you cannot see what is in here. Now, on the back of some of them, they do give you kind of a breakdown. It's like a photo of like all the pieces laid out, but it's not the same as seeing it. And I'm going to show you in a minute. It's not the same. And then here you can see that this is a picture of this stuff, but the colors are off. For example, this looks like a lighter red, and it's definitely a darker red in real life. And so it's not the same. And so for me, this was very helpful to have it laid out where I could see it, where I could see the colors. Also, when I'm working on something, I'm just going to grab this. But let's say I'm working on this page and I want to add something red. I can literally just bring it by and look and see, okay, this is too purpley, that's too blue. Okay, this is perfect. The airmail I could stick back here. And so I can kind of gauge what I like with the project without having to move it. Now, some of the pieces like this one, you can see it's got some residue glue on the back. I've pulled this to use on a project and then decided I didn't want to use it. And so I tried to stick it back. Sometimes it sticks back, sometimes it doesn't. So for those of you that were asking that, hopefully that answers your question. I use a glue runner to stick my images down, and you can see in the book where some of them have stuck really well, and they've taken just a little bit of the page with them, which is totally fine for me. Even with that, I could still take another piece of ephemera and glue it down here, and it's not going to make a difference because I still have, you know, so much space on the page. Now, the way that I laid it out, like I said, I tried to have this. So what I did is I cut this piece out so that it had the SKU and the item number, and then obviously it says it's Tim Holtz, and then I just cut it out and I put it down on the page. And because this piece, you know, this would make it too big, I was trying to save some real estate on my paper. I know that it's called Urban Layers, and so that's kind of what I would write on the front here. If it's, some of them have it, but some of them do not. And so then you can see here, everything that I have from here, here's a couple more pieces that have fallen. And so if you want to take the time and put them back together, that's fine. If not, like it doesn't matter. And so here's actually this exact one. And so you can see that's where that one ended and where this one begins. So I'll do a quick little flip through so that you guys can see. How I did it. And like this one unstuck, but I can still feel that it's sticky. So I'm going to stick those girls right there, and you can see here, they stuck pretty good. Now, if you want to, you can overlap these people like this, and you know, I would not get the sticky on the people themselves, but I would definitely, you can definitely layer them. This is a tool that I've talked about in other videos, and it removes stickiness. So for example, on this little guy, if I know that I don't want it to be sticky on the back and I don't want to re-stick him down, I can actually just take this and I won't do it all the way so that the camera doesn't shake so much, but you can start removing the glue by using one of these. These are linked in my Amazon storefront. So remember also, this ephemera book is filled with things that I've had for years. I mean years. Years. You're gonna, some of this stuff is like super old, and a lot of the things I come from a dad who liked to save things, especially things that he loved. And what's unfortunate about that is when he passed away, there were a lot of things that he didn't use and that were still in boxes. He loved handkerchiefs, and so I would buy him, anytime I saw any handkerchiefs with his initial on it, I would buy them for him, and you know, they were still there in boxes. So you can see here on this one, it didn't have a photo of what was there, and so it's just the item number and then the SKU or barcode or whatever that's called, and so with the name written on. So anyways, I think beginning last year, I decided to start using what I have, and instead of you know, you can still get stuff, but use it. And so I think that this is an awesome way for you to do that, for you to see what you have, to use the pieces. There's no way when all these little pieces are sitting in a pack like this, that you're going to know to look for that copyright 1865 or item number 111. And so this way I can see it. And like I said, I can bring something to it. I can see, oh, I think that, this color goes better here. And so I'm going to take that and add it on this page. I think it's very useful for that. Now, the other thing that I did was I had ephemera not just from Tim Holtz, but I had ephemera from other brands, and you're going to see them starting here. And I don't know how I feel about this. I think if I were to do it over again, just because I do like Tim Holtz so much, I think I would do a book maybe based on Tim Holtz. I don't know, because then I'd have a lot of empty pages too. So I'm not really sure. This was a beautiful, I think, Prima kit. And on some of these, it was when I didn't even have the packs anymore. On these, I had them out. Like, I'm pretty sure this is Heidi Swap. And then this is probably Prima. This looks like Maggie Holmes. And so these things were in these little containers. They're, I guess they are for ephemera. And it's a big bin that I got at Michael's. And inside the bin, it had like, well, it's actually a big bin like this. And it had like, let's say 20 of these little containers inside, and then the ephemera went in there. And I think they're the cutest thing. I loved that idea. And so all my ephemera at one point went into those. And then guess what? I never used it. This stuff is years old. At least, some of this stuff I know, like the Maggie Holmes stuff is from Florida, so some of this stuff is like 2014. So many years that I didn't use it. I love that color. Because it was kind of hidden. And I'm sure that some of you can relate with that sometimes when we have the best of intentions and we buy things where we think we're going to use them, and then we don't. And it's not, well, in some cases I was hoarding, and then in some cases I wasn't. So I think that some of this might be Tim Holtz. And so that's where I would say that when you are going to do this book, I dove in head first. I was like, I'm going to get this done. I love the idea and I want it right now. And so I went in with my personality type and I just started gluing stuff together. And like I said, I had thought it through, but then once I got to this part, I had forgotten about those little bins. And so then I was like, oh, I have that stuff. So I think next time I would maybe organize it on my desk or on the floor. I like to work on the floor a lot, crisscross applesauce style. And I would organize it and I'd put like all the Tim Holtz together, or maybe not even I don't know that I would do it by brand necessarily, or maybe by type. So like all the grunge stuff in one area, all the florals in another area. I'm not sure. And so I do have a question for you guys. If you were starting this today, then how would you organize it? Or would you even care about it being organized? Do you just want to have it together? I think that the book is small enough, and that's it. I think the book, we still have pages left. So let's see if it tells us how many pages. Oh, okay. It came with roughly 60 sheets. I think I just pulled this out of here. So at some point this was a page, I guess, that I'd torn out. I think it's still manageable to look through this and, find something that you love. And I've talked about this before. If you bought it, you loved it at one point. So you're going to love it. You're going to use it. So the little difference about this video is I have not done that with my stuff, with my digital printables. And that goes with mine or any other creator that you find that you love their printables. You can do this with, and I'm going to show you how. I'll show you the exact glue that I use and the way that I would go about it. I would definitely, in this case, go by kit or by, and there's probably a lot of creators that don't do kits, but in my case, I'm going to put it together. The only thing that will not make it in is going to be the pattern paper. And in that case, it's going to go in these poly folders, which I also have linked. Anything that I can, I'll link in my Amazon storefront. And if for whatever reason I don't have it linked and you see it and you want to know about it, leave a comment down below and I'll make sure to put it in the storefront. Sometimes I, forget to put stuff in. So anyways, it'll go here, and then I have a little filing system for it. So now I'm going to put you on fast forward, and I'm going to start cutting all my ephemera out. As I'm cutting, I wanted to take a break and say that this is kind of how I have my table laid out as I cut, and like these are all part of that little set, so I kind of keep them separated like this. And then this will help me later. I went ahead and cut out all the ephemera, including the background papers, although we will not be using them right now, but you'll see them in the pile. I have piles on my desk of the different ephemera. This is the regular ephemera here. You're going to see there's the colorized paper or digital people, the black and white digital people. You have the little words, like the tiny ones, the bigger size, and then the washi tape there. So I have good news and bad news. So the bad news is I cannot find my glue runner. This is the refill that goes inside of it, but I have no idea what I did with the mechanism that houses this. So, but I will have it here so that you can see the product. And I picked this one up at Walmart. I think we were like out of town and I had to have it, or I don't even know. But anyways, if it is available on Amazon, I will go ahead and link it there for those of you that want to purchase it that way. So because I don't have that, I was thinking of different alternatives that I could use, and one of them just being wet glue, and we'll go over the pros and cons to that. I did, though, go ahead and pull this baby out. And so if you are from the scrapbook community, you know this named ATG. It is a workhorse. It's an awesome double-sided glue dispenser. You don't see me using this a lot because I mess up loading it like all the time. I always have to watch a video of how to load it, and it's the easiest thing, but for whatever reason my brain does not want to pick it up. And you can see here it's very similar. The mechanism inside looks very similar to this one. It's the same idea, except you have this big gun. What's nice about this is you pull down on the trigger and you slide. So let's see. So you're going to take it, I'm pushing down, and then I let go of the trigger to remove, and you can see, I think you can see the tape right there. So the negative to using this one, because it's so big, is normally I would use, so this is the whole tape. This is the whole tape. I would usually use about half of that, so just like about that amount. So there's no real formula for it. Now I will say a couple things. If it's going to bother you when you were watching me flip through and you see some of these are loose because I pulled them off, but some of them have gotten loose just from the glue, like there wasn't enough glue sticking to it. I'm trying to find, I think that red piece that I showed you guys was a glue issue. If that's going to bother you, you might want to use a little more glue. That does not bother me, and I can always glue it down after the fact. I am going to try some adhesive. This one I had gotten from Dollar Tree. You don't want to use something that's like super strong. I would not use like Fabri-Tac or Art Glitter Glue. I would try it out with like some Elmer's or something, but we're going to experiment, and then I'm going to check back with you at the end to let you know, like tomorrow, how this does, you know, if it sticks, if it doesn't, whatever. And so we'll try to do that. And if it dries today, I'll let you know today. So I don't know what the drying time looks like. So when you have your ephemera, I think I'm going to start with the digital people. And I'm just going to come back here. And I think I'm going to start here because I like the color here. Okay. Please hear me with this one. You can be as meticulous as you want with this. If you want double the amount of stuff to fit, then you can be meticulous and use this like a puzzle and try to get all the pieces, you know, lined up. Or you can, I just noticed I didn't cut him out all the way. Or you can do it like I'm going to do it and just kind of, you know, where it fits, it fits. I'll try to make the most use out of the space, but I'm not going to be so delicate on it. As far as the ephemera goes, so I told you I printed on cardstock, which is a little bit, I'm feeling it, it's a little bit thinner than the cardstock, let's say for the Tim Holtz digital people. That one's more of a, like a thicker, almost cardboard. It's a glossy, whereas that's not what I'm using. I'm using, and actually here, let's do this. I don't know how well it'll pull up on camera, but if you can see the difference between the thickness. I don't know if that, but you can see like even that's the bendy and the bending. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a small amount of glue anywhere on this little guy. So you can see here the amount of glue, and I'm just going to stick him down. And I don't like rub it in. I don't do anything extra than that. Now I'm seeing here like my little feet are flopping here. So with hand cut ephemera, you might notice that, like when you close the book, you might want to be a little careful so that you don't bend the feet. It's not really gonna bother me. So again, I put, this one has a very little amount of tape, and I'm going to butt them kind of up close to each other because it doesn't matter how close you get them. I think I said before, it was yesterday, so I don't remember what I said. But you can even overlap them. So if you wanted to, you could put this guy. Look how I cut him out. He looks like he's got something there. So we're going to remove that. I don't know what I was doing. And so that's pretty much the gist of it. I'll keep showing you. The glue amounts differ a little bit on each one. On some of them also, so this is wider here. So like something like that, I might tip it over so that it just gives me more space to work. If that's going to bother you with the orientation being off and you won't be able to see it as well, then don't do that. Just, you know, you can also use a smaller book. You don't need to use this big book. I think I have this, this is a sketchbook, and so the pages are going to be thinner. And they are thinner, but I think that it would work as well on this. I don't know reusability, if you'd be able to keep reusing this one or not as much as this one. So I think that's pretty much it. I'm going to go ahead and put you on fast forward mode while I glue some of these in, and I will come back and check with you anytime that I have either any notes or I notice any tips or anything like that. I try to fit as much as possible so that I wouldn't have to go over to the next page with the ephemera, but you can already see it's, I don't even have words for it. It almost paints a picture on its own. And I noticed that when I was putting like these pieces together, this stuff, and I'm sorry, I'm watching a K-drama, and so I think I'm speaking like the K-drama. I have to okay, anyways, when I was laying these out, it was almost like I was creating a collage painting, if that makes any sense. And I feel like that's the same with this. It just looks so much prettier. It is inviting to use, and it makes me want to grab something and use it, as well as I can see everything all at once, even more so than when I have the papers out. A lot of times when I have the papers out, it's because I'm doing like ASMR for you guys, and I'm, cutting. And so that's why I usually leave it together. But I love the idea of this ephemera book. It is really, I keep saying a game changer, but it really is a game changer. And I hope that you try it out, even if you try it out on one of the small books. Another tip here, when you are using things that are squared, if you're like me, it might throw you off if they start not going perfect. So the way that I get around it is make it imperfect off the bat so that it doesn't matter. And then the rest of them, if they go wonky, it is less apt to bother you. As I was finishing these labels up, I looked over to see what was next, and these little ones are going to be a bear to glue down with this, and possibly also like the smaller one. I'm not sure because I don't have it, but I decided to go ahead and use some wet glue now. So I'm going to show you the options that I have. I got this white just school glue, and this is from Dollar Tree. And then I also have this product that I ordered on Amazon probably years ago. It's repositionable glue. So meaning you should be able to just move it around and it doesn't adhere 100%. Now, this might be the way that you go just in general with this. You might want to get some of this. So I will definitely link that. And we're going to try it out and see. So I think my game plan is going to be to turn the pieces over, add the glue, and then put them back right side like you saw me do with the other. I'm gonna try to get the words so that they're going the right way. I really wish I didn't have to do that, but I'm going to. Okay, so I think, so this stuff's pretty sticky. Okay, so that is the extent of the glue. As you can see, it's just a tiny little dot. And I don't know if it's better to, maybe I'll rub a couple in and then I'll leave a couple and we'll see. So I'll remember those two. Got rubbed in. And I'll try to keep these as intact as I can. So the negative part, I'm going to tell you, and it was my fear in the first place of using a wet glue, is that it's going to move around on you. Oh, I think I just remembered that with the tacky glue, you're supposed to let it, or yeah, with this stuff, you're supposed to let it kind of dry a little bit, kind of like eyelash glue, where you want it to be tacky. It's pretty sticky on my fingers, like it's kind of getting everywhere. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then, you know, glue them down, and then I'll be back. So I glued the ones down with the tacket, and now I'm gonna glue them with this glue. So I'm gonna make a separate section for them. I think I'm gonna line them up against the edge right here. As I was gluing these down, I decided to check the top ones, and so I think that they're already dry, and I'm going to show you. So you're getting a lot of tear with the regular glue. So I would say I would not recommend this type of glue unless that's all you have, and you know, you don't care about the ripping. And so now I'm going to check one of these. So with this one, the same thing, you're getting, well, that feels like the glue. Oh, okay, so I made a mess here, but it was just glue residue. So this is definitely a great option. So I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of the page, and probably the rest of with the the small ones as well as the washi tape, and I'm going to use the repositionable glue just on the little ones. All of the small labels are now placed down, and look how pretty they look. Isn't that adorable? It was definitely a labor of love. My hands are all sticky right now, so I'm gonna go wash them and get started with the washi tape. Once I finished putting in all of my little washi pieces, as you can see here, I took up a page and a portion. And so at this point, you have a decision to make. You can either fill this in with other ephemera, not the washi, or you can just leave it blank and then start on the next page. I think because it's all in the same collection, it's the same kit, I'm going to go ahead and keep going and glue down the pieces. And I have to say, I fall in love with this thing again. There was a reason I used to love it. It was solely what I used. And so anyways, it was a happy accident that I couldn't find the other one, because now I'll use this. I think that this process is also really nice because you get a hands-on feel for your product and everything that you have, and then as you're laying it together, you can start to envision ways that you might use it, like different ways that you might layer the pieces, or pieces that go together that maybe you didn't think matched. And plus, for me, when I'm just handling beautiful pieces of papers and ephemera, it's just a joy. The nice thing about using the glue runner is you don't have to worry about it drying. I didn't wait for this to dry too much before I turned it over, so we'll see in the long run what happens, but for now I'm not going to worry about it, and we're going to keep going. We are finally finished, and this is definitely one of those projects where when you put forth the effort up front, you're going to get a huge payout at the end. I hope that you were inspired. I hope that I answered any questions that you may have had. If you have any other questions, leave them down below and I'll try to answer them. And I hope that you make one for yourself. You will not regret it. I thank you so much for being here today and for watching, and just for your friendship. If you haven't subscribed yet, this is a great time to do so, and make sure you hit that little bell because it'll let you know anytime that I have new videos. Until next time, bye.